So today we have MCU Iron Fist taking on MCU Shang-Chi. Who wins? Let's find out. So, when it comes to physicality, I'm not going to focus on this area too much. I don't think it's that important in comparison to the other two big areas that we do need to focus on. But I will mention it. Both of them were raised and trained in similar fashions. Shang-Chi was extensively trained to physical perfection by his father Wen Wu. Growing up, part of his training was letting two people hit him in the ribs with both staffs repeatedly for a long period of time, as well as to punch this wooden pole or post until his knuckles bled, and then to keep on going after that. He went through all of that for years. This means his tolerance for pain is incredible, as by the end of it, it never really bothered him. He routinely sent people flying, one-shotted them, and to fight against this really big guy. He withstood several blasts from the Ten Rings, including one that sent him flying several meters into that lake, and he also ignored a taser. And he's incredibly fast and agile, that he easily evaded hits from trained warriors, dodged blasts from the Ten Rings, and used a scaffolding on a building as his own personal jungle gym, displaying a ton of acrobatic and parkour skill. But Danny was trained similar to that in Kunlun. For example, if you failed to master the fighting style for that day, or if anyone did, they were whipped for hours. This means he too has an extremely high pain tolerance. He's done similar things as far as feats go, like, one-shotting people, setting them flying, withstood being sent flying, all that great stuff. He's also evaded bullets, because he too is also extremely fast and agile. Both are incredible physical conditioning. Now let's move on to the fun part, skill. Both are two of the very best in the entire world. Shang-Chi was extensively trained by Wen Wu, his father, in several styles of Kung Fu, and to be a lethal assassin. And his fighting style also incorporates like a lot of acrobatics. He was beating groups of highly trained warriors as a young teenager, and his father thought he was skilled enough to take on the mission of assassinating the murderer of his mom. He bested a bunch of guys while on a cramped speeding bus, holding his own with his own sister while holding back while she was pissed as well. What's impressive about that is that it's been like 10 years since he's had any sort of training, which means he's probably had to keep up with it at some point. But it's been 10 years since he received any sort of training. It was 10 years ago when he left. So that's still impressive. He also held his own with Wen Wu and eventually even got the better of him, despite him having the 10 rings and having like 1,000 years of experience. I also know throughout the fight he took 5 of them and then he took the other 10, but he was generally able to hold his own and match his father despite the experience levels highly differentiating. But Danny was trained in Kunlun for 10 years to be the immortal weapon, the Iron Fist. He said that he'd and everyone there had to master a new fighting form every single day, or they'd be punished by whipping, like I said earlier. This means almost every day for 10 years he was mastering a new style of fighting and martial arts every single day. He also earned the right to fight Shao the Dragon to become the Iron Fist by beating every person there that was also fighting for it. He held his own with Daredevil, held the upper hand over Colleen Wing, bested Bakudo, one of the fingers of the hand, held his own or bested Davos, who is equal in skill and never holds back, and easily bested Mary Walker in every fight after their first fight. I'd say Danny is better for two reasons. Firstly, he did beat a dragon. We don't know how he did. They didn't show us that. One of the reasons why I didn't really like the first season of Iron Fist. But anyways, it didn't show. But he did it. He beat a dragon. Okay. Um, Another reason is that he literally mastered a new fighting style more or less every single day for 10 years. Yeah, which means he just has mastery over more fighting styles. And actually, a third reason, he's gone up against more known martial artists. What I mean by that is like we know everyone Shang-Chi fought was very skilled, whether it was his dad, his sister, or people his dad trained, right? We all know that. But they don't have many feats under their belt. At least nothing like Daredevil or Davos. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not saying they're better than the main characters in Shang-Chi, but they don't have many feats to prove that they're not better or that they are better. I'm making myself confused, but you get what I'm saying. I say Danny is technically more skilled than Shang-Chi, but it is very close. Now, for the sake of this fight, I am going to give Shang-Chi the 10 rings to help him, you know, cancel out Danny's chi. So how does Danny's chi square up to the 10 rings? Well, the 10 rings granted Shang-Chi's father eternal life and could use them to project powerful blasts or amp his physical abilities. Like his dad used them to send people flying and one-shot them and to break a table with ease. The blasts were able to send people flying, one-shot them as well, and even sent Shang-Chi flying several meters into a lake, knocking him out in the process. Uh, he also used them to jetpack across that lake. These rings were also able to eventually weaken that massive barrier just enough so that massive dragon monster thing could bust out of it. And that barrier was obviously powerful enough to hold that massive, powerful dragon monster thing in there. Uh, and then Shang-Chi used them to kill that monster by from the inside out. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Basically force feeds this thing to eat it and then bluey, right? Kablooey. Um, and also seeing how Captain Marvel, Wong, and Banner were reacting to these rings, they're probably a lot more powerful than we think they are, and probably play a bigger role in the future. But Danny's chi was usually just used for his chi punch. This thing was able to send a locked reinforced steel door flying and cave people's chests when Davos had it, completely wrecked the front end of a semi truck, sent Luke Cage flying twice. Upon hitting Luke Cage with it the second time, it caused a shockwave that sent everyone in the room flying, and he caused a floor of a building to ripple, kind of like water when he hit it. I think the Ten Rings are more powerful just because of how Banner and everyone was reacting to it in the post credit scene. Was they're like, yeah, these things could be a lot more powerful than we think they are. But in terms of destructive force, as for things that we've seen, Danny's chi punch is more destructive and more useful in a fight. Like Shang-Chi withstood being blasted several times by the rings, right? No normal person could survive the chi punch. No one. Luke Cage did because his skin is indestructible. Okay, that's it. And with that being said, yeah, I'd say Danny would win. He can literally just use the fist over and over again. And when he starts getting bested, if he gets bested by Shang-Chi, he will resort to that fist. And he doesn't care to kill either. Yeah, it'd be a great fight that I'll probably do again one day after the next Shang-Chi movie. After we get a little more feats on him and whatnot. But as for right now, I do think Iron Fist wins at the end of the day after a great fight. Iron Fist wins. Like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Leave a comment of what you think and hit the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos and all the great stuff. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day. Peace.